Hello, welcome back to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. Here on the channel you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting, spinning, crochet and weaving, all of the fibre related things. Today's video is a long overdue making roundup. It has been quite a few months since I sat and shared with you the progress that I've made on my projects. I think the last wrap up I did was back in June. So there's quite a lot to share with you. I have decided to do a wrap up from July, August and September in this video. It is November as I'm recording this, but I think trying to squeeze 4 months worth of making into one video would just make it far too long. My thinking is that at the end of November I will try and do an October-November wrap up, and then hopefully going forward into next year, 2026, I shall get back to doing these on a monthly basis. If you've been following for a while, you'll know that our last couple of years have been very hectic, very chaotic, with lots of family things going on, and I've done my best to continue to put up videos on a regular basis, but just there's something about the act of having to gather all of my projects and sit and talk about them that just has felt like more of a time commitment than I've had sort of spaces of time, if that makes sense. I've absolutely wanted to do this, but gathering everything and gathering my thoughts about what I want to say has just been somewhat of a challenge. Yeah, hopefully things will get better in that regard next year and going forward from now, so we'll see. I do have a few projects to share with you. I've got some successes and some failures. There are some things on my list that I didn't actually get to work on. So if you are new to the channel, each month or most months I pop up a making plans video whereby I try to select a few projects to work on. I'm someone who likes to have a lot of projects on the needles, and sometimes it doesn't get overwhelming, but sometimes I can procrastinate trying to pick what to work on. I could, without a few things to focus on, I have a tendency just to kind of pick up something, work on it for a bit and then put it to one side, and I never really that way make progress on anything. So yeah, I set myself some making goals for each month. There are a few on my list from July, August, September that I really didn't get to, and mostly that was things from my mending pile. If you've watched my making plans video, I'm trying to work in some mending into my sort of monthly making practice to fix some of the things that either have become worn through multiple wears, use, or things that I finished but I wasn't 100% happy with the fit and they need adjusting in some way. But on my mending list for July was a sweater that I was going to fix the cuff on. That has actually popped up again for my November making, so maybe that one will finally get done. I was going to mend or darn some socks in August. That didn't get done. And I picked a project bag with some holes in to embroider on in September, and again that did not get done. Although I'm trying to prioritise the mending, obviously it's not quite working somehow, and I'm not quite sure why that is, because I do feel motivated to do it. I think it's just time. It's a time issue more than anything else. I think going forward, rather than putting off my mending, I think it's easy for me to think, oh, I'll do that next week, I think going forward I need to make it a priority and sort of pick it up at the beginning of the month rather than sort of leave it to the end of the month and then ultimately never it doesn't get done. I also have a pile of projects which I'm calling my unfinished objects, my UFOs, but it's basically a bunch of kits and things that either I have started and not finished or never started. Some of it is knitting, crochet, but there's quite a lot of embroidery projects and sort of fibre adjacent things on there, and I pick one project from that list every month as well. In July I was going to be doing some cross stitch. That never happened. In September I had a very interesting experience with some needle punch, so let me try and grab that. I think I've got that kit somewhere here and I shall let you know my failed attempt at needle punching. I had this kit which I picked up quite some time ago at the Tiger shop, Tiger. I don't know how many of those are here around the country. I think it might be a Danish company, although I'm not 100% sure, and it's one of those kind of bits and pieces shops. Imagine sort of IKEA marketplace but slightly smaller and a bit more based around like stationery, crafting, stuff like that. So yeah, a few years ago, needle punching seemed to be all of the rage, and I saw this kit and I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a go at that. I pulled this out to work on in September. I just could not, for the life of me, get the hang of this. Now, I don't know if it's the tools or the lack of experience, but I absolutely hated doing this. So needle punching, if you've never come across it before, you have this kind of tool which you thread your yarn through, and then you want like an open weave kind of fabric, and you just push the yarn in and you make these loopy stitches. Now, granted, this kit was not very expensive, so I am assuming that the quality of the materials in this kit is not the best. The first issue I had was I was punching through my fabric to make the loops. This is the right side, and sometimes the yarn would stick and other times it wouldn't, and then I was ending up with places in the fabric with really big holes because I was trying to sort of punch it in and it just would not catch at the back, and it was becoming very frustrating. Other frustrating thing was that the fabrics, the hoop that you get and the piece of fabric, there wasn't much in the way of if you can see, there's not much in the way of sort of overlap at the sides, and because you're punching through this fabric, you want something that's sort of quite sturdy in that frame to help keep it secure. And as I was doing, like, every few punches, the sides of my fabric was sort of like working out and becoming loose, so I found that very frustrating, and that was probably also contributing to the problems that I was having getting the yarn to catch. And then the final straw came when my embroidery hoop that was part of the kit just snapped. So as you may imagine, the air up here in the craft room where I was attempting this turned very blue, and this got thrown across the room. I'm not proud of my temper tantrum, but sometimes things are just too much. And this attempt at needle punching was just too much. Yeah, I kept this kit to show you and to prove that I actually attempted to do this. These sort of like bundles of unused yarn, I'm going to put them in a bag. I've got a bag of leftovers, bits and pieces, and even some full skeins of yarn that I know I'm not going to use. I'm going to donate to one of our local charity shops. So I'm going to pop these into that bag and hopefully someone will find a use for them. This bit of fabric, this broken hoop are just going to go in the trash, unfortunately. I can't see that I will ever be tempted to pick up needle punching again, although, you know, who knows. This was one experience, and I'm sure, as I say, if I had better quality materials, this might not have been such a bad experience, and maybe I would enjoy needle punch. But I've already got 1,000,001 different fibre related hobbies. I probably don't need to add anything else to my list. Yeah, a little kit seems like a fun entry to trying something new, but in this case it really didn't work for me. The one project from my UFO pile that I did make some progress on was the project that I picked for August, which was cross stitch. I have a big sort of tote full of cross stitch kits that my mum started but never got to finish before she passed away. Mum has been gone for almost 20 years now, so I've had these for a long time. I've managed to finish a couple. Sometimes I feel like I want to work on them and sometimes I don't. I'm sure if you've lost anyone dear to you, you probably know those feelings. Sometimes, yeah, it's just a bit too hard. In August, I picked up one of her cross-stitch kits, which is a white tiger. Basically, she had pretty much finished the first half, which you can see here. And in August, I managed to finish all of this at the bottom of the second half. And I have a video on my Patreon, I think, that I put up for Patreons, where I did like half an hour of cross stitch every day, and then made a little bit of a time lapse to share how the piece progressed each day or over the month. I managed to get a lot done. I have to say, I do enjoy cross stitch in the summer months when I can sit in the garden and pick up my needle and thread and just work away for half an hour or an hour. I do find it much harder on my eyes now. Obviously, I am an old lady, or at least getting there. and I find it a little bit harder to do in the evenings in the dark of winter, although I am still noodling around the idea of getting myself a decent daylight lamp so that I can carry on with stitching if I want to through the winter months. I'm really happy with the progress that I made on that. Have no idea when this one will come out again, but that's okay. It will get finished when it gets finished. On to spinning. Now I have to say my spinning mojo went on vacation over the summer months and I wasn't feeling drawn towards spinning in the same way that I usually do, which is fine. These things kind of come and go. I'm happy to say my spinning mojo has definitely returned and I have been doing more over the last month or so. Back in July though, of course, it was Tour de Fleece month, so I did do a small amount of spinning then. I have been working on my Turkish spindles with some fibre that I got from Spin Jones. And this is a Polworth nylon blend, and I got a bag of basically bits and pieces, so I think each sort of little lump of fibre is either 10 or 20 grams, I can't remember off the top of my head, and eventually I shall probably make some stripy socks with these yarns. I've got a couple more that I've spun up, the singles are waiting to be plied, and I'm working on the last couple of fibre bumps. Actually I've got them all next to me. What am I talking about? So I have this basket here. Let me take out one of those because that does not belong. I've got this basket here of the one unspun fluff that's left. I've got one in progress on my Turkish spindle, and then as you can see I've got a few of the turtles that I've taken off of my Turkish spindle waiting to be plied. This spin will definitely get finished by the end of the year, I am determined. But this is what I managed to get finished in July. The other thing that I managed to get finished during Tour de Fleece was a collection of fibre that I purchased at the World of Wool. I actually visited their factory shop, I think it was towards the end of last year. And I picked up a bag called the Orange Glow collection, and basically it was a bunch of different fibres in the same obviously colour theme that they had gathered together, and of course you know that orange is always going to attract my attention, and there's 6 different quantities of fibre in different bases from their ranges. Run through all those, 150 grams in total, and I finished spinning through that collection. Not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that yet. I shall pop those in my hand spun stash. I need to properly measure these. Obviously I haven't done that yet. I'm trying to keep my hand spun stash very organised. I popped up a video where I actually emptied out all of my hand spun a little while ago and tried to put them in tote boxes whereby they're all the same kind of wraps per inch, number of wraps per inch. So yeah, my hand spun stash is fairly organised at the moment and I want to keep it that way. So now that I've shown these off to you, I've been sat in a basket waiting, patiently waiting until I did this wrap up. I can get these measured and pop them into my stash, and I'm sure a project will come along at some point for all of these orange beauties. Maybe I'll even just make a simple cowl or something. Okay, let's launch into a bit of crochet. I worked on one crochet project over the summer. I worked on this for 2 months in July and August, and it's a new project for me. I am working towards making a Jethro cardigan, which I'm sure you will have seen by now. It's a combination of granny squares for the body of the cardigan, and then you knit the sleeves, and I think you also pick up and knit the button bands as well. For my Jethro, I decided to make the centre of each of the granny squares from hand spun yarn. A couple of years ago, the lovely Sharon, who is one of our wonderful community members, gifted me an advent calendar, a fibre advent that she didn't want to spin. Tour de Fleece, not this year but last year, I span through all of the yarns in that advent calendar. There was loads of different colours, loads of different fibres. I remember having my e-spinner up in Yorkshire when I was staying with my in-laws for a week and just having the best time spinning through all of the wonderful fibres in that calendar. And I have been slowly working through my mini skeins that resulted from that spin session. As you can see, these are the ones that I haven't yet managed to break into. There's so many different colours. It's just fabulous. And if my memory serves me correctly, I have been crocheting, sorry for all the crinkling, I've got this all in plastic bags. I have been crocheting 2 squares of from each of the mini skeins, and I've still got yarn left over, so I'm going to have some leftovers from this, but that's absolutely fine. And I think I have worked out that if I do that, I should have enough, or close to enough for this cardigan. And I've managed to, so far, I've got them in separate bags at the minute because it was just getting all out of hand. But so far I have managed to crochet up this pile here. Going to make sure that I don't get confused. So what I've done is, oh, there's one more. I have been keeping the granny squares with their leftovers. So this is all the leftovers so far, in sort of separate bags so they don't get mixed up. And if I need to crochet some more squares, then obviously I have plenty of yarn left to do so. I've also, in this second bag, got this little pile as well. So yeah, I am a good way through the crochet part of this project. Obviously I will need at some point to find a yarn to join these all together, so all of these get joined with the same colour into the body of the cardigan, and then that's the same colour that I will use for the sleeves. So I need to figure out what my main colour will be. Some of these squares are working up to be slightly larger than others, but I figure at some point I will block these out and try to sort of manipulate them slightly so that they are all roughly the same size, but I'm not too worried. There were a couple of yarns in the advent that spun up really thickly, and I've ended up, I think most of these are 5 rows, are they? 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5. But some of them, the yarns were so thick, I made a 4 round granny and they ended up being the same size, so I kind of stopped there. There's a few of these yarns, this one in particular, I would not really want to be wearing this kind of next to skin, but I figure in a cardigan situation where I'm going to be wearing something underneath, they should all be fine. And I'm not worried about the fact that some of them are slightly thicker, some of them are slightly thinner. I think by the time I get them all into this one project, it will work out just fine. It will be fine. How many times can I say fine? So yeah, I managed to make some good progress on that, but as you can see, I've still got quite a few skeins here that need to be worked up into granny squares. I'm going to do all of the granny squares first, and then I shall lay them all out and audition a few kind of main colours alongside to see what I think will work nicely. I mean, obviously it's going to be a bit of a riot of colour, so there's probably not one colour that will suit all of the colours in the granny squares, but we shall see, we shall see. It will be a fun adventure. Still some work obviously left on that project, but I'm happy to have it started. The Jethro's been on my radar since the pattern was released, and yeah, I feel like it's a perfect way to use up some of the yarns from this advent. A perfect way to kind of also have them all in one place and to remember the wonderful gift of the Fibre Advent from Sharon. So thank you to Sharon once again for gifting me such an amazing thing that I will hopefully turn into a cardigan of many colours. I feel like this video is going to be quite a long one. I've had a couple of breaks between recording each section, so I'm not entirely sure how much footage I've recorded so far, but I still have the knitting to go. Hopefully editing and will be able to hopefully make this video a manageable length. I do try to keep the videos here between sort of 25 and 35 minutes if I can, because that's kind of the my preference for video length when I'm sitting to watch videos. But I feel like this one might be slightly longer, and I know there's a bunch of you out there that said that you don't mind longer videos, so yeah, we shall see. We've still got the knitting to go and there's quite a lot to share with you, so let's do this. Let's start with finished sweaters, finished jumpers. Back in, let me check my notes, August, when I did my making plans, I always have one project pick which someone from our wonderful community chooses for me, and that person is able to pick either something from my works in progress or a completely new cast on. And the lovely Amanda from the Little Lycat podcast picked the Let the Good Times Roll sweater for me, which is this fabulous like 80s inspired design. with a roller skate on the front, bright colours, absolutely love it. I started this as a test knit. It's a pattern by Sylvia Watts Cherry, and unfortunately I wasn't able to finish in the test knit deadline. I think I got sick or something happened. Sylvia was very gracious. I'd managed to finish the back panel and sleeves, I think, or at least started the sleeves. So I was able to give her some feedback, but I wasn't able to finish the entire sweater. But Amanda picked this for me in August, and back then I had knit the front to around about the bottom of the roller skate. And so in August I managed to finish the front of this, and I got it joined together, as you can see. I am calling this finished, except it's not quite. I've got ends to weave in, which, you know, standard, but also I really struggled to set in the sleeves on this one, and I don't usually have a problem. I don't mind seaming garments, and I've set in sleeves on quite a few garments at this point, and I don't usually have too much of an issue. I've managed to get one sleeve to the point where I'm okay. This side is okay, but this sleeve, I've attempted this twice already, and you can see here I've got some like puckering going on. The sleeve just does not fit in quite right. I'm not happy with it. So I was umming and ahhing about, should I just call it finished, weave in the ends and live with it? I asked this question over on Patreon as well. The consensus is I should give it one more attempt at sewing this in to try and get it a bit better. And I think I would be just happy if I could get, there's obviously some extra fabric somewhere along the line, and I don't know why this has happened. Obviously I was test knitting the pattern, maybe there was something slightly off with the measurements, but because I didn't complete the test knit I didn't really know. Or maybe I have done something wrong, which is the more likely explanation, and my armhole and my sleeve just aren't quite compatible. But I'm going to rip this out one more time. If I can get some of this excess like down under the armpit where it's not quite as obvious, I think I will be happier with that. So yeah, I'm going to give it one more try. For the purposes of like my Ravelry project, this is done. It'll take me like a couple of hours one weekend to try and get that sorted. The Let the Good Times Roll pattern by Sylvia Watts Cherry, fabulous intarsia design. Sylvia is very well known for her intarsia projects, and it's just such a fun sweater. This was knit from West Yorkshire Spinners Colour Lab, their Colour Lab range. They have these fabulous bright colours. In September I also managed to finish my 3 Seasons pullover, which is a design by Wool and Pines. I started this last September time, I think. When the pattern came out, I fell in love with it. I knew that I had to knit it. I bought the yarn straight away, cast on straight away, and of course have been working on this on and off ever since. Now, I did have quite a big issue with this at the end. So this is my 3 Seasons. With these sweaters, I shall try and take some footage. I'm sat fairly close to camera at the moment, but I'll try and take some footage of me wearing these to pop in somewhere while I'm rambling on about these. I absolutely loved knitting this. I loved it so much. The lace and cable combination, it was just such a joy. The yarn was very thick, so it knit up relatively quickly. The problem that I had is that when I first ordered this yarn, for the meterage of the pattern, I think I would have needed 13 balls, and the website that I ordered it, they only had 12. Decided to order what they had because I love this colour and I wanted to get started, and I thought if I didn't have quite enough that I might get a contrast for the ribbing. I checked the website a few months ago and they actually had some more of this back in stock and in this colour, and I don't know why I didn't just order an extra ball at the time, but I didn't. And in September, when I came to do this and I realised that I was going to be slightly short of the yarn, I went to order. I thought I'll either order some orange or I'll order a contrast, and the yarn has been discontinued. Wah, wah, wah. So I wasn't able to get more of either this orange or of a colour that would be a nice contrast. They had like some light pink or some light blue or something left, but that was it. And I trawled around the interwebs to see if I could find a stockist that maybe had a few balls left. Couldn't find any. I did have a look on Ravelry. There was one person who had some of this orange in their stash, but it wasn't for sale and they were overseas, and I just thought, you know what, even if they're willing to sell it to me by the time I've paid postage and whatnot, it's going to cost a fortune. So what I did was I just knit until I ran out of yarn. So I have sleeves. This is a drop shoulder pattern and the sleeves come down to about my elbow. So that's just the way it is. I'm not unhappy. I'm a little bit frustrated because, you know, I wanted to kind of finish this off as per pattern, but it was my own fault for one, under ordering yarn, getting carried away and ordering less than I needed, and two, not ordering more when I had the opportunity. So yeah, but I think this will work just as a short sleeve garment by itself, although with the lace it might be a little bit risque to wear without anything underneath it, although across the front where you definitely don't want things to be see-through there's these cable panels that are solid, so maybe it will be okay. But yeah, I think with a long sleeve t-shirt or whatever underneath it, this will be a lovely garment to wear throughout the winter months. It's super cozy. I absolutely love the design. I'm so glad that I knit it. Just very frustrated with myself for not ordering more yarn when I had the opportunity. In September, I also finished my shift cowl, the shift, which is a pattern by YarnNYarns. And you may have seen a vlog for this. It's got a little bit screwed up where it's just been sat folded. And if you're new to the channel, you might be wondering, well, how comes there's a vlog for the shift, for instance, and there isn't one for the 3 seasons pullover? Well, the shift was cast on as part of a make-along that I hold every year, the 12 cast-ons. Between December and the end of January, I cast on a bunch of new projects to set myself up for my coming weeks, months, years worth of making. And then I vlog each first day of working on the project, and then after that I create a vlog sharing where, when, how I work on each of those projects. I only do a making vlog for the 12 cast-ons projects. This was a 12 cast-on project, the 3 seasons wasn't, so that's that probably unnecessary explanation, but you get it anyway. So yeah, Shift by YarnNYarns. I absolutely love this. I made mine from my hand spun yarn. I picked 3 different skeins of greens. Lovely mosaic knitting. With mosaic you're working 2 colours, but you're slipping stitches. You're only ever working 1 colour in each row. I'm super happy with how this turned out. These are very popular. This pattern was very kindly gifted to me by my lovely friend Erin. I've had it in my library for ages, and it was one of those projects that I kept putting off because I wanted it to be perfect. Like, I really love this cowl ever since it was released, and I kept wanting to make the perfect cowl, the perfect version of this, and that all just got twisted up in my head and prevented me from casting it on. And eventually I just bit the bullet, picked 3 skeins of hand spun yarn, cast on, finished my cowl. Couldn't be happier. Why on earth did it take me so long? There might be more of these in my future. In July I asked YouTube to pick one of my knitting priorities, and this is another hand spun project. These are the Lunar Mitts, which was a pattern that was published in Shetland Wool Week Annual quite a few years ago now. I can't remember which issue it was. As far as I can tell, these have not been released as a single pattern yet. I knit mine from some hand spun yarn. I accidentally spun some lace weight yarn. I'm not a fan of knitting with lace weight. But yeah, I accidentally spun some lace weight yarn, and yeah, I found this pattern for the Lunar Mitts, and so I decided to cast them on. I have ended up with fairly mismatched mitts colour wise, even though this is from the same hand spun. It's just the way the colour repeat has worked in these mitts. But here they are on my hands, and I absolutely love them. They're really lightweight but also super warm, and they've got this beautiful lace pattern across the top of the mitts. And I don't know why it took me so long to finish them. And again, there is a making vlog about these, so I'm not going to harp on about them for too long. But yeah, I've still got a ton of this lace weight yarn left. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I'll give it away because lace weight is just not my thing. But yeah, as I say, a super lightweight, very, very warm pair of mitts. So I'm going to get plenty of wear out of those. And I'm glad that they are out of my project pile because those were weighing on me a little bit. They were a product knit rather than a process knit, i.e. I wanted the finished object, but I didn't particularly enjoy knitting with the lace weight yarn. And then finally, to wrap up this finished object parade, I have got a pile of socks to share with you, but I don't know what I've done with my sock blockers, so I'm just going to show you them as they are, and they won't be quite as prettily displayed as if they were on my sock blockers. First off, I knit myself a pair of short socks. These are from Handspun yarn. And I have a vlog about these over on my Patreon page for, I think, members who support at the shawl level or above. I might be wrong. I spun up this yarn as part of my Spin the Bin challenge. So the lovely Robin and Sylvie of Grumpy Sheep Happy Llama, they have been hosting a Spin the Bin challenge throughout 2025. One of the quantities of fibre in my Spin the Bin challenge, I thought it was grey merino when I pulled it out of the bin initially, but when I came to revisit it, I realised that this is the biodegradable nylon fibre that was kind of all the rage in the spinning world a couple of years ago. So I decided to, instead of spinning that just as it was, I decided to combine it with some mystery purple fibre that I had in my stash, and the purple was very kindly gifted to me by my lovely friend Zoe of Pins and Needles. She purchased a huge quantity of fibre from someone who was just destashing their fibre supplies or their spinning supplies, and she kept everything that she wanted and then gave a few bits and pieces to some of her friends, including lucky old me. So I blended the bio nylon with the mystery purple, and I think I had 50 grams or so of fibre in total, which obviously I spun up, and then I knit this up into the, I think this is called the ankle socks with ventilation pattern. It's got this lovely big lace pattern across the front, and that pattern is by the lovely Lee of Luli, and you can find those on Ravelry. Very happy with those. They're a slightly thicker yarn. A lot of my sock yarn, I try to spin as thin as I can, but a lot of my sock yarn ends up being more like sport weight than like the usual 4-ply that we mostly knit socks with. I mean, you can knit socks with any weight of yarn, but yeah, I'm very happy with how those turned out, and it was a really nice experiment on blending and using that bio nylon. Next up, I have the Most Ardently socks pattern, which is a pattern by Kelly of Roro and Cades, and throughout 2025 and also going into 2026 I am participating in Kelly's 12 Cozy Toes make along. Every 2 months Kelly is releasing one of her sock patterns at a discounted rate, and then we have 2 months to knit through them. I have mostly been working up the patterns in that make along with yellow yarns so that I can donate them to the Flower Power Fund. Now I've shown these off, I can gather up my package of yellow socks and send them off. And yeah, this was just a lovely lace pattern, all over lace. Let me try and stretch it out over my hand so you can see that a little bit better. And I knit these from some yarn that I picked up at Wonderwall Wales, and this was from the Weaver's Loft. And yeah, I was on the lookout when I went to that fibre show for a couple of skeins discounted if possible, like from people's sale buckets, to knit my yellow socks with. This yarn is not the softest, like not compared to, you know, a lot of the merino nylon blend yarns that indie dyers use. I think this yarn might have had a bit of BFL in it, though I can't 100% remember, but I think these should be like really hard wearing socks, which is great. So yeah, those were Most Ardently. I also finished my Herbsblatter socks, and I started these last September, October time when Denise of Earth Tones Girls podcast had a I can't remember what her make along is called, but it's basically knitting socks for autumn or for fall. I used this beautiful yarn from the Knitting Llama, which was gifted to me by the lovely Joel when she and her husband came over to visit a couple of years ago, and I just picked it for the fall vibes. It doesn't show off the pattern. There's like a leaf lace design on these socks. Well, you can kind of see it okay, I think, maybe. This pattern also has like a really nice kind of ribbed detail, twisted rib detail down the back. I knew from the start that maybe the lace pattern and this variegated yarn would not be the best match. But as I say, I went for the full vibes and I absolutely love knitting these. They took me way longer than they should have, but I'm glad that I got them finished. I can now wear them, and it's a beautiful memory of the time that I got to meet Joel and her husband in person. We had a lovely evening out in Cardiff, and I'm very grateful that they took time out of their busy travels to come visit me here and also to give me some amazing yarn. This was not the only gift I received, but yeah, absolutely stunning. Love that. Love that. I have just realised that I have another pair of, well, I've got 2 more pairs of socks left to show you in my pile, and then I've got another finished pair that I should be showing with you that I didn't bring with me, so I'll save those for next time. There's more than enough socks here to go around. These are the Canyon socks. So this is a pattern by Carly Perrins, I believe. I've got the pattern up here, so I should be able to tell. Yes, and it was part of the Socks Gone Camping collection. And this collection, there's 3 socks in total, and this collection was kindly gifted to me by my friend Robin from the Grumpy Sheep Happy Llama podcast, and I have knit 2 out of the 3 pairs, and I've got the 3rd pair in progress. I picked a random skein of yarn from my stash. This yarn I think was from B Textiles, and I've had it in my stash for many years, and actually James gifted it to me on my birthday a few years ago. We went to visit Farfield Mill, which is up on the edge of the Yorkshire Dales, and it happened to be my birthday, and they had a little sort of, I would say like a community collective shop where there was a bunch of makers that had their stuff for sale there, and I went round and picked up some yarn and some fibre, and then when I got to the till, James said, oh, I'll buy that for you for your birthday, and I was kicking myself because I could have bought twice as much, but I thought I was paying. If I'd have known James was paying, I'd have gathered more. Anyway, these are the Canyon socks, and again it's another sort of lacy pattern, and I loved knitting these. Is lace kind of interspersed with ribbing. Such a lovely pattern. Again, my yarn maybe doesn't show off the pattern to its best advantage, but I just, as soon as I heard the name Canyon, for some reason I thought about this skein of yarn, and I thought, well, why not? It's been in my stash for ages, I don't have a plan for it, and so there we go. I popped in a contrast heel because where I popped in the heel initially with this main colour yarn, it changed the way the yarn was kind of like spiral pooling around the sock, and I just didn't like it. There's a little bit of that going on with the sort of change in stitch count as I decrease down the gusset. You can sort of tell there's like more sort of big swirl sort of stripes on the leg and down the bottom of the foot. But yeah, I ripped out my first attempt at knitting the heel and decided to pop in this just brown opal yarn as a contrast, and I love how those came out, and now I'm looking forward to wearing those now that I've shown them off to you. Also, talking of Robin, Robin designed a pair of socks. I think these are called Heritage Surprise. I will just double check. It's definitely Heritage something like that. Yeah, Heritage Surprise, and these were released in September as a mystery knit along, so we've got a clue every week, inspired by Robin's heritage, and I absolutely loved knitting these. They're just a combination of lace and texture and this beautiful like star motif across the top of the foot. Oh, absolutely loved it. I did make a few modifications to the pattern, and there were some suggestions for doing so in the sock. I think, let me try and think. It might have been here. Oh God, I'm going to misremember this. I think it was this panel where you could either knit it stocking stitch, or I think Robin suggested using the lace panel again. When my foot was not long enough after this star motif, I decided to repeat the broken rib at the bottom, because I thought it might look a bit odd with just a stockinette pattern panel going into the toe after I'd knitted all the textures. If I'd have left that as stockinette, then I probably would have been happy with stockinette around there as well. But yeah, I took a few liberties with the pattern. It has this gorgeous picot edge like a folded over cuff. Oh, just love knitting these. And this yarn was some Manos del Uruguay yarn in this beautiful sort of tealy green colourway. So yeah, if you are interested in a bit of a sock adventure where you're only knitting a few rows in lots of different kind of texture patterns, I can highly recommend this sock pattern, the Heritage Surprise. I'll try to remember to put all of the links to my project pages. They will be Ravelry project pages below this video. Okay, I've been rambling on for a long time, but I am going to share one work in progress before I sign off. This is my Love Note sweater, and this was picked for me in July and September by Maribeth and Viv as part of the community pick on my sort of making plans. And I spun up some yarn for this a good few years ago. I think this was, actually let me look, 12 cast-ons like 2022 or something ridiculous. Let me look. Where are you, Love Note? 2021, 12 cast-ons 2021, which probably means I cast it on in January 2022 because I was labelling 12 cast-ons, oh no, 30th December 2021. And so I spun through this, and then the finished yarn just kind of sat in my stash for ages. I counted it as a work in progress, but I hadn't really cast it on or done a lot. So this is my progress so far. I am combining my hand spun with some fluffy mohair from Rowan, this really bright orange mohair. I think they've just re-released a colour similar to this. I think they've got a new line out in collaboration with Cave Facet, and I think it's got a bright orange in, but the bright orange came and then went, and then it's come back again. Anyway, that is pretty irrelevant. Here is my Love Note. So I just have the rest of the body. I finished that beautiful lace pattern at the top. I've got the body and the sleeves to go. Oh, love this. Really love how the hand spun yarn, this kind of almost browny rusty colour, is pairing with this orange, and I think the orange is really brightening it up and pushing it back into like a proper rusty orange rather than a kind of rusty brown colour. So yeah, I cannot wait to work on this one again, and I hope to get to it in December. It is an outsider on my priorities list. I think this was kind of like the last project that I threw in as a, if I have time, I'd love to finish that. Oh, I'm keeping that in my orange Scrub Bucket bag. Which is a knitted project bag patterned by Tracy of The Passionate Spinner, and I knit my first one, this one, out of a bunch of orange sock yarn leftovers. Anyway, oh my goodness, I need to go and lie down. I don't know about you. That was a lot of talking. You are probably more than sick of hearing my voice. So I'm going to sign off, let you go. Please do let me know what you have been working on recently, what you have been finishing. Do you have any projects that you are desperate to try and get off the needles by the end of the year? I would love to know all of that in the comments below. I'm not sure what videos, oh, I think there will be a making vlog for a sweater coming up. And then as we go into December, I am planning on doing Vlogmas-ish. So I won't be posting a video every day, but the last couple of years I've kind of done a vlog every few days and then posted that. So my plan for December will be to do Vlogmas-ish again. I've got a couple of advent swaps that I've done, and I've also bought a fibre advent. I have to confess I kind of forgot that I bought the fibre advent, and then it arrived a few weeks ago and I was like, oh yeah, I must have done that. So yeah, in December there'll be some advent shenanigans and hopefully lots of making, hopefully lots of finishing projects before we get ready to go into 12 cast-ons 2026. Anyway, I'm just waffling. I'm going to say goodbye to you. I hope you will join me for the next video, whatever that is. But until we do get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do some of the things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. Bye.